All right, we're live. Boom!
Hey,
Out of the night that covers me black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. God damn it. This is my brother. This is my brother. We said we're not even gonna talk before this. I'm gonna hit you up to give you the password and the meeting code, and that's it. Because we wanted to say the energy, we wanted to say the happiness of the meeting. And let me tell you, my brother, I can't stop smiling, man.
Yeah.
You know, for those in the viewership, you know, I'll let the brother introduce himself in a second, but I just want to say, you know, my semester, Fall 11, was a small semester as far as, you know, to my knowledge. I don't know, you know, we can get into exact numbers, but small semester for the frat, at least for the region. There was only 5 of us in Region 2, the Pennsylvania region. I think it's called Region 2 now, that crossed that semester. And I gotta say that this brother, you know, I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know what it is. It's just like we're kindred spirits, bro. We love life. You know, we just get real happy to see each other because we rarely see each other. Keep in mind, this is the first time that I'm actually seeing this man in years. And the only conversation we had before this was, "Yo, I need you on my show." All right. Password. Meeting code. Introduce yourself, bro. Man. Who are you? What's your name? What chapter you from? And what semester you just crossed?
Who am I, man? My name is Jorge Vizcaino. Zawadi, Fall 11, man.
Shout out to the crazy Zawadi chapter.
I'm biased, but it's the best semester out there. Squad, man. I'm so happy to see you, bro.
Facts.
I remember but we had a conversation before this. It was over Instagram, remember? And my camera wasn't working, so I saw you, but like you couldn't see me, man.
This was early in the morning before. This was early in the morning while I was at work, and
it wasn't even, the sun wasn't even out.
The sun wasn't even out. It was early in the morning, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if I videoed you or you videoed me or if I hit you up, whatever. But we just, you know, I said, "Yo, I haven't spoken to this dude in so long, years. This is the first time I'm seeing this dude in years."
Yeah.
And he agreed to be on the show. So, brother, thank you for you know, coming through. Thank you for sticking with your commitment and joining me this evening. You know what I mean? It's sure to be a good convo. Looking forward to catching up and just building on any and everything, bro. How you doing, man? How's life overall, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, you can't complain about life, like especially like how lucky I feel. I'm always grateful about everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, everything's good. Like I'm getting through finals. Like I have like this last final of this semester on Tuesday.
All right.
Been killing it since, trying to finish strong. But
so you're in graduate school right now?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. What school do you currently attend?
Boston University School of Public Health. So
School of Public Health. So what's the degree for?
Is a master's in public health, but I'm concentrating in epidemiology, biostatistics.
All right, so we're gonna get into that. So you know, let's take it from the beginning, man. Tell the people kind of, you know, who you are. Tell me who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you come from? Where'd you grow up? Talk to us about your, you know, your upbringing, your childhood. I see the flag behind you. You want to talk a little bit about that? I know that was on purpose. You put that in the frame as a source of pride.
Absolutely,
you know,
man.
So talk to us about your early life, man. Where'd you grow up? Who are you? And give us your story.
Damn, man. Damn, we're going way back with this first
back, bro.
You're going hard instantly. Woo! So, as you can tell, Colombian. I was born there.
Oh, you were born in Colombia?
Yeah.
Wow.
Colombia. So I'm Rolo. So like for your viewership that's Colombia, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's Rolo."
All right.
But yeah, man. So I was born there, 91. I have so many good memories. You know what I'm saying, of Colombia as a child.
How long were you there for? And not to cut your wisdom, but how long were you there for before you came here?
I was 8 when my parents.
Oh, so you got memories.
I got memories.
Your whole upbringing is you know, over there. Your whole mindset, your developmental years was spent over there.
I won't say whole because, like, you know, I'm just like that. That's something we can also like speak on. You know, like that split immigrant mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I am Colombian. I was raised there. That is me. But I'm also American, man. Like that's something that's like really within me. I mean, like when I went through puberty here, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's
no doubt.
That's such a huge milestone. Early 20s, equally huge milestone. Kind of like split in different places. But
Yo, so
yeah,
talk
man.
about that, man. Growing up in Colombia, like, I know a lot of people, a lot of bros, a lot of the viewership, whether or not you're, a part of the frat, um, male, female, have spent their entire lives growing up here, like me. Like, I don't know what it's like to grow up outside of New York. I don't have the experience. This is just my experience. So what was growing up in a different land, quite frankly, of what you can recall? What was that like for you, bro? Like what
Man.
what kind of things did you see? Did you experience the smells, the tastes? Paint that picture for us.
Yo, man, there's two like as soon as you were speaking, there's two distinct memories that always come to mind when I think of Colombia. One of them was being in my grandpa's farm and like smelling that leña, that burning wood. There's like there was this one house. It was my mom has memories of it like being like this huge, like nice, really nice house. But when I was like old enough to remember, so I was like, let's say like around 5, like four earliest memories, right? There was this one house we would go in, and it was like only like the side walls were up. You know what I'm saying? Like the roof, that thing had collapsed like years before, but like these walls were there. People were living there. People were like handling the business there. They're doing everything, and like I always remember that smell of leña. You know what I'm saying? Like as like people are cooking inside, man, and just being out there. And those farms in Colombia, man, they're like this. You know what I'm saying? Over here, farms are flat. Over
Right.
here,
Meaning
like
your joints over there were like on a steep,
yeah,
on a
man, on a
slope
slope
rather.
like hell. Like you
Yeah.
try to find like flat land wherever you can in the mountains, but
Yeah.
it's in the Andes. So like I just remember being in the mountains. I remember like the view, the way when you look out, as soon as like the niebla, the fog, just goes out, you see so far, bro. See just everything, and like you literally feel like you're on top of the world. Especially so young, everything seems so giant. Like I've gone back to that same house, and like the mountain's pretty much taking it over now, right? Like nobody lives there anymore.
Yeah.
It seems so huge when I was little. Everything seems so enormous, and the scale of those mountains is just so enormous that growing up around them, like in Bogota, you have like one side that's like all mountains, and then the other side it's like you see city. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, man.
So like I have that memory. I also have in Bogota, there's this one mountain, or like actually it's a church that's called Monserrate, but everybody calls it Monserrate, the entire mountain. And every weekend or so, my dad and I, we would always have like this ritual. And like I was tiny, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I was tiny too. So like the fact that my dad just took me on these trips is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like we would climb that mountain every weekend or so. You know what I'm saying?
So you had so something that I think about often is I'm born and raised in New York City, my whole life in the Bronx, and so my experience is all city, building, concrete, jungle, right? But you had exposure to nature and the natural elements at a very young age. Do you ever think about that? Because I think about that often, how there's a whole natural world out there, and those of us that are from city environments, as I'm sure a lot of bros can attest to, we don't necessarily get that exposure early on unless we have parents that are conscious of it, or people in our lives that are conscious of it and expose us to it, or when we hit that point in our lives when we decide that's what we want to do as individuals. So you do you ever think about that? Does that ever enter your mind?
Not in that frame, but like I've always been connected to nature in a certain way. Like that's where I feel relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm saying like my girlfriend and I, like we would rather go to a park and walk over like a fancy dinner, or like a big night out, like a club, or like what, like we would just so much rather be like at a park or just in the outdoors.
Yeah, man.
Than doing that. And like I don't consider myself like a full like environment, like just like my environmentalist, like everything is about like outdoors and everything. Like I enjoy like the commodities we enjoy every single day, but like that's where I feel energized. That
I got you.
That type of environment, like anything outdoors where it's just mostly things you can't control.
Yeah.
That like that brings me just serene.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that was definitely there was so much green. I remember coming here, like even in like because like we came to Delaware.
So wait, pause. I'm
Yeah.
just about to go there. So you got this upbringing in Colombia, this outdoor lifestyle, you smelling wood, you on the mountain. Why was it your parents that decided to come here? Or what were the circumstances that brought you from Colombia to Delaware?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, like I started off, like every single memory that I have of Colombia is like, it's very, very good. Most of them. And like, of course there's certain things that you go through that, like stick, but like most of the things that I can ever tell anybody, or if anybody ever like talks to me about Colombia, they're all good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no secret that Colombia has its troubles. There's no secret at all. Made a whole series about it. Like, I have my mixed feelings about how that got popular, but they decided to look for a better life, just like anybody can tell you, like as an immigrant story. They wanted a better life for themselves. They wanted a better life for the children, and they did give us that. My dad specifically was very very worried. He all the time, like the violence that did go
worried on.
Yeah, like the violence. He never felt like he was safe there, or that we were safe. Like I said, all I have are good memories, but then again, maybe like that was like that good of a job that they did to shelter me.
Right.
That like that's all I saw.
Right.
For the most part. But yeah, they like that's something we don't talk about like often enough, like how like brave they fucking are, man. Can I curse in this thing, by the way? All right, bet. I was about to say, like, the balls on this man.
No doubt. No, it's all good, bro. It's all good.
No, man, like, the balls on this man, like, the bravery of my mom, like just to throw themselves into the unknown so willingly. That
did they know anybody here?
My dad knew one guy.
And did he come over here with that one guy in mind? Like, oh, he's gonna be able to put me on. Like, so he knew that would be like a connection for him, or was it something else?
So he ended up. His name is Victor. Like, I don't know whatever happened to this man.
Yo, if y'all know Victor, hit him up. We're gonna bring Victor on the show.
Victor's out there, bro. But yeah, he hit up my dad. Like, my dad hit him up. Like, I remember like the preparation. Like my parents, like, it didn't really strike that we were like really moving the entire time. It didn't strike until I was like here for a month.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was such a young kid. You know what I'm saying? I don't know any better. Like, what your parents tell you to do is what you do.
No doubt.
That's it. So I remember the preparation for that. Like, I remember like all of a sudden, like my dad was like going to these like English classes. You know what I'm saying? In Colombia, like he would always work like night shift, like crazy, right? Usually he would sleep during the day, but like instead of going to sleep, he would go to these English classes in Colombia. And just like to me, it didn't make sense. I'm just like, all right, like I guess you're going to school like I am. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? Like they never really like told us like, hey, we're moving, like we're leaving this place.
So they never had to sit down with you.
They did, but it didn't hit me.
I got you.
It didn't hit me. It's like, hey, like we're moving to the United States, and like I'm asking like the United States, like Estados Unidos, like, what? Like I don't like that seems so foreign because it was like the only reason I like knew of like the U.S. was like through movies. So everything that I knew about the U.S. had to be movies.
How much of your early education did you get over there?
Until second grade.
Do you remember what your education experience was like over there? Can you speak on that?
Yeah, man.
And I'm gonna tie that back into it. This is not random because I would like to know how, the U.S. is portrayed in other countries' education systems. Me being a product of the U.S. education system, I have a pretty good grasp. And as an educator currently, I got a good grasp of how other countries are spoken of and given to the students. So that's just a point of curiosity for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak on like my own experience because that's something I'm actually really curious to like really like understand like the Colombian education system as it is today. But over there, started out in jardín. So I mean, that's like I guess that would be like kindergarten. You call it you go to jardín, which translates to like garden. So
yeah,
but
that's a German word.
Is it?
This education
Kindergarten. It's
model is based
kindergarten,
on
I
the
think.
German system of education. Kindergarten.
The Kinder eggs. I get it now. All right.
Oh, there you go. It all makes sense. But yeah, so they call it
Well,
garden.
so I mean, I started there. I remember like going every day. Like you always had your uniforms. So, I mean, you either go to public school, you go to private school. I mostly, yeah, like a lot of people I know, like they would always rather send the kids to private schools in Colombia. Like, I mean, like even if you could like barely like really afford it, like that's kind of like what you really strive to do, just like you do here. But like when I went to that private school, I went to Cervantes, Liceo Cervantes school, and it was an all boys school, man. And I just remember it was a Catholic school, and I remember being so afraid of so afraid of the priests and everything. Just like I don't know, it just seemed like so daunting. Everything seemed so huge. Is what I'm saying, man. Like just like I said before, everything seemed so giant. And I remember it being like at least 30 kids to a classroom. You know what I'm saying? Just straight line. Everything was like pretty like militarized.
Yeah, no doubt, because that's what these people have historically done. They go into these, indigenous nations and these indigenous countries, and they begin the process of well, we can talk about
yeah, man. I mean, like I remember like every single morning, and this was like I guess if you compare it to U.S. system, I guess like compared it'd be like K through 11. There's only 11 grades.
All right.
So it's K through 11. You know what I'm saying? So you see this entire massive courtyard full of all these students, and every single student had their own individual dot in that entire open area, like a dot. Like you had a dot on the ground. Like that was your dot. You stood there every single morning. As soon as like the call went out, boom, you go to that point and you just stand there.
Military.
Like that.
Yeah.
And like going into the classrooms, it was just like straight line, like single like file, like old school desks, blackboard, green. And I remember distinctly that for the majority of the time, all I was doing was copying down what the professor wrote on the board. It was insane, man. Like this lady just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. Next board, wrote and wrote. Next board, wrote. As soon as everything was full, erase the other board, keep writing. And in the meantime, as a little kid, man, I was just trying like my hardest. I remember just to like write everything down. Every single word. That's what you were told to do. You write down every single word in your notebook, and that's your job. That's your job. Like you're here to like write down what is on the board. And I remember that distinctly. Like man, like that's one of the first thing that I remember them teaching us was get rid of your print handwriting. You're gonna write cursive.
You know what's interesting about that? I was just having a conversation with my parents because the way, at least the education system that I've been exposed to over the past 6-7 years, the way it is now, our youth don't even have writing classes. There's not even we're teaching them English, but we're teaching them in a way that prepares them for testing versus mastering the skill and the art of writing. And they were talking about cursive writing. I said, yo, kids today, like that's a lost art. I barely know it. It was a lost art when I was in school. You know what I mean? But
that's true.
That's very interesting how you were kind of forced to write in cursive. It activates a different part of the brain, but continue.
Yeah. No, I always thought it weird. And I'll loop back into that and continue like on the whole education thing. But yeah, I remember like them setting so much emphasis into having written everything down that if like, let's say like, dude, you're little, you know what I'm saying? Your hand's gonna cramp up, you know what I'm saying? You've never been able to like write that much. There was so much emphasis in that you were so fearful like that they were gonna check your notebook and like you'd be missing notes. So like I remember like calling friends like sometimes when like I fell behind and I was like, yo, did you get the notes for like everything? Like please, like and like my friend on the other line would like say exactly what the what I missed, you know, like read it word for word, and then I was like right there, just like right. And this is weird, man. This is like thinking back on it now that I'm speaking it, because I haven't spoken about it really that much. It was weird, man. Like I was like, what, like first grade, second grade?
Yeah, young.
Yeah, worried about that. It's kind of funny, but
So
but
you
yeah, I remember a lot of pressure. Huh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember a lot of pressure in that. I do remember like, yeah, by first grade I already knew my like times tables and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I mean, then again, like that was its own like specific privilege within Colombia to be able to get that sort of education. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like that for everybody,
Right.
by any means. So,
So
I mean,
you were in a private school.
I was in private school. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was in private school. So I mean, like we weren't well off, but we weren't bad either. Like, cause my dad like had been grinding for like years. You know what I'm saying? Like years. Like a lot of parents, like especially like Latino parents, they have the kids like mad young. And he did have my sister young, but after that, like he didn't marry until like he was like, I want to say like 29, 30, and then he had me like late early 30s.
All right.
So he had already like, you know, done his own thing because he himself like grew up pretty poor. But yeah, man, like so like we were doing all right. We were doing okay. We were doing okay, but like that just tells you how like the situation was in Colombia. That like even if you were like felt like you were doing okay, you wanted to like leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you going through all of this. You got this kind of like military-esque kind of education, which, you know, double-edged sword, right? Because one can argue that it builds discipline. You know, the rote repetition of a task, you know, gets you into that swing of things and builds a certain level of discipline. So one, you know, there's always arguments for everything, you know. So you going through all of this. They kind of tell you, yo, we're going to the States. You don't realize what's going on. So where do you land when you first land in the States? Do you come directly to Delaware, or do you make a detour somewhere else, or how did that work?
damn, man. So it's funny because I remember.
Now, wait, keep in mind, right? I want to tie this back to the purpose of all of this. It's brothers out here that, you know, are of the immigrant experience that can relate exactly to what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Younger bros, if you're watching this, you know, reach out. I said in the last episode, get out of your chapter. There are bros that can help you navigate through, or even if your parents are still dealing with the effects of coming over here, or if you got family members that are fresh over here from somewhere, reach out. This is what this is about. If this is a brotherhood, let's start acting like brothers.
Damn right.
Let's start.
This what you're doing is amazing. It's a vehicle that I don't know why anybody else hasn't, you know, like exploited yet. But like,
because it's my shit. Don't worry about it.
I'm glad you are.
It's my shit. So, all right, so over here, and then how did this you know, how did kind of, you know, where did you land?
Yeah. So I remember like the first time I tried to say where I was gonna land, because I was with my friends. It was recess, and I remember distinctly telling him, "Yeah, like so I'm like moving. I'm going to the United States to these friends," and he was like, "Wait, whoa, where? Like what? Where are you going? Like what's gonna happen? Blah blah blah." He was like, "So I'm gonna go to this place. I don't know what it's called." So we looked up, like found a map, right? And we saw it. So I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm gonna land in Philadelphia. So like, I was going to Philadelphia.
That's right. I'm going over there that way. I love it.
And I land, and like my dad had already been in the States for like 6 months. He came ahead of us.
Okay.
6 months.
So he came first. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did he come first to kind of survey the area and kind of set something up for his family to follow? Got it.
Exactly.
Shout out to your pops, man. That's not, you know, I can only imagine. I can't even speak on it with certainty, but I can't even imagine. I can only assume that just requires a different level of discipline and you know, love.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. Tenacity too, man.
Yeah, man. Facts.
Tenacity, that's all intertwined. But so I remember it'd been like the first time I'd ever been on a plane too. And I land in Bogota. It's cold, man. It's not the warmest place. Even though it's in Colombia, we're like right there next to the equator. It's in the mountains. So
All right, yeah. So you're higher up. I got you.
higher up, man. Yeah. So like the days can sometimes be warm. It's usually raining a lot. The nights are really cold. Like I had like a breathing problem when I was little
Wow.
because like I just couldn't deal with the cold. But yeah, we land and it's the middle of fucking July. It's 2 days after my birthday, so it's July 26th,
You
1999.
land 2 days after your birthday?
Yeah, man.
How's that for a story, bro? That was your
Yo.
8th birthday or your 9th birthday?
My 8th.
How's that for a story?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like my little brother had just been born like in February of that same year. You know what I'm saying? Like they were just everything was happening so quickly, man. Like, like all of a sudden I have a brother, all of a sudden like we're in this new place, like crazy. And I remember it's been the middle of summer and I was like, yo, why is it so damn hot? Why is it so hot? Like even in Colombia, like summer is like it's not like I mean Bogota is like it's either rainy season or like you know dry season.
Yeah.
It's not all of a sudden like July, summer, hot, like close to August.
Right.
And I remember like seeing my dad and like, you know, like was my dad. I hadn't seen him for like so many months. And I remember getting in that car and I don't remember that car ride so much. I remember the car itself. It was red neon. And I step out of the vehicle as soon as we get to the apartment complex where we are. And yo, I smell pine trees. And that's like the first smell I get of the US.
Damn.
Pine trees. That's the first smell I ever have. Because like anything from like the airport to the car, inside the car, it's just like indoor smells. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing fresh about it. Not really. But like as soon as I step out, it's just like, oh, okay. This is a different place. This is a different place. This is like I don't know that smell quite.
Interesting. Damn, that's so crazy, bro.
Yeah. So we went to these apartments. It was basic apartment complex. Nothing special really. Like we didn't even have furniture for a while, man. We like sleeping on air mattresses.
At this point, you're in Philly or you're in Delaware?
We're in Delaware. We never like we just landed in Philly.
Just landed in Philly. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like because like my dad said Delaware. He's like it's close to this city called Philadelphia. But yeah, no, we're in Delaware. And yeah, man, everything was just sudden. Everything was just sudden. My first friend was actually half Argentinian. So like we met like somebody almost immediately that like my mom could speak to. And it was weird. It was an odd situation because it was a community pool, right? And we were like, all right, you know, we've never really had a pool to like just randomly go to, you know what I'm saying? Like it had like, to be super planned. Like if you ever went to a pool, like yo, it was like a fucking like it was a day. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ever went to a pool in Colombia, like yo, like that was like an occasion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you a pool? What?
Yeah.
So now we had like a big ass pool, and I was like, oh crap! But I was deadly afraid of the water, man. Like I couldn't swim for shit.
Yeah.
And I remember there being this one kid, and his name's Dante. Still friends with him to this day.
Shout out Dante.
Yeah.
You might get that man on the show.
Hey man, maybe.
Pull up.
But you know, I was just like started playing with him. He was speaking English. I didn't understand the thing he said. You know
oh, right. That's the other thing. How could I forget this? At this point, you speaking solely Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know any English.
Yo, bro, do you think in Spanish?
Up until probably high school.
Interesting. Okay, that's curious. That's curious. I forgot all about it. That's right. Up until this point, you only speak in Spanish.
Yeah. Like everything, like I like if it was like an internal conversation, it was always Spanish up until like high school. I remember.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's because like became more whitewashed in high school. We can get to that.
Okay, no doubt. We're gonna get into that. So Dante.
So I'm like playing with him, and like you know, I guess my mom notices his mom, right? And she doesn't know any English either. You know what I'm saying? So I guess she's trying to spark a conversation somehow. And she's just like, she knows so few words. So she tries to like say like, you have the time, but like, I know it didn't come out like that.
Yeah.
It didn't come out like that. And then all of a sudden, because because he's my friend right now that I'm talking about. Like I told you, he's half Argentinian, so his mom's white.
Right.
All of a sudden, she just speaks Spanish, man. She started speaking clear.
What a blessing, man.
Spanish.
What a blessing, man. That must have been for your mom, like,
like
so crazy.
Like my mom didn't want to be here for like the first 2 years, bro. For 2 years straight, she did not want to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like we left everything. Everything we knew. Especially my parents. This must have been so much harder for my parents.
Of course.
Like everything we knew, our families. We were the first. Like you know how like we talk about chain migration? We're the first link.
Okay, I got you.
We were the first link in our family. Like everybody came after that.
Yeah.
That decided to come.
Yeah.
But most of them, like grandparents, uncles, cousins. I had a large family, man. Like on my you know how Latinos did back in the day, you know what I'm saying?
Reproduce, baby.
Don't wrap it up, nothing, man. You have a kid, you have a kid. That's it. Exactly.
No doubt.
So I mean, like, I know there's bigger families, but like my dad came from he has like 9 brothers and sisters. My mom has 7.
Okay.
And on my dad's side, I have like nearly like 30 cousins. On my mom's
cousins,
like, almost 20.
Damn.
Less than that. Yeah. So it was a big family, and we were always tight knit, especially on my mom's side of the family. I would be in my grandma's house every single weekend. You know what I'm saying? And my mom, like, she loves, absolutely, like, has like the closest connection I've seen between mother and daughter. I mean, I'm biased because I got to see every bit of it.
Yeah.
She left that, and like, I mean, that was heartbreaking. Like I remember like saying goodbye at the airport. You know what I'm saying? That was because like I didn't get it. Like I wasn't really like crying, but I was sad because I saw my mom sad.
Yeah.
But
that's real.
Yeah,
that's real.
Yeah, we left everything. So that like Susie is his mom's name is blessing to our family, man.
Yeah,
it's like all of a sudden like an instant friend. Like that was like I don't think must have been like more than a week. We've been in the States before we met them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it was just like such a blessing. Like they're still like great friends
to this day. See, that's amazing.
Yeah, like my parents moved to Texas like a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they went over to visit them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Yeah, like it's still so tight, man.
Yeah.
Very blessed to have that family in our lives.
Shout out to that family, man.
Yeah, for real. And what happened after that? I remember I was in 2nd grade. I told you, and like the school year runs different in Colombia. It runs from I guess like a normal year. You know what I'm saying? Like beginning of the year to the end of the year. Over here, it runs from like summer to summer. So I was in 2nd grade and a half. You know what I'm saying? So because I came during the summer, they were like, yo, like, all right, so he's not in 3rd grade. We're going to have to like start him over in 2nd grade.
Right.
So I'm usually I was usually the oldest person in the grade because, yeah, I had to like repeat half of 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And instantly ESL. So I remember that, man. And like, I never met any other Latinos that weren't Colombian.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting how you were surrounded. And that was totally by chance, right? That wasn't like your pops knew that this was a heavily Colombian area in Delaware, nothing like that. That was just by...
It's not, dog. Delaware is not that heavily Latino at all.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Like this all these encounters are really like been by language barrier established.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like we went out like try to talk to any random person.
Yo, stay right where you are. I'll be right back. Stay right where you
are.
You're talking about 2nd and a half grade now.
Yes, sir.
You're a little older than everybody else. Now you start getting into the U.S. Delaware school system.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
I mean, there were so few ESL schools. Got these special. I guess it was kind of weird. Not really. We had these special like buses, like they would go around and pick up like all the Latino kids.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So like that was my first exposure to Mexicans.
All right.
I'd never spoken to a Mexican person in my life.
Okay.
So I mean,
shout out to all the Mexican, Mexicano, Azteca brothers in the chapter. Strong people, man. Strong people. Not just in the chapter, but in the whole, in the whole org, man. Shout out to all the Mexican brothers in the org.
Yeah.
Love my Mexicanos, man.
My first exposure to Puerto Ricans as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the main. Like I was rare, bro.
We out here.
Yes, sir.
We out here.
Yeah, like Colombian was rare, man. Colombian
Yeah.
was rare there where we are. I mean, my chapter brother Louis, it's like one of like the few Colombians that I met along the way. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and there were more obviously like here and there, but we were so few. And yeah, man, like that's like the first time I got exposure to so many things. I remember like people talk like these kids talking about wrestling. Yeah, I remember some like at one point this was very distinct because like I remember like everybody looking at me like with like I had like three heads, man.
Interesting.
Like they were talking about they were talking about what were we talking about? They were talking about celebrities, and all of a sudden Britney Spears came up, right?
All right.
And everybody was like all the kids, even like the boys were like, oh yeah, like I know Britney Spears, yeah. And I was like, who?
Interesting.
Who?
Was there So question. So was there anything that you remember, because you mentioned wrestling and Britney, right? Was there anything pop culture related, or like what was the first US pop culture thing that you latched onto?
That I latched onto. Shit, man.
That's interesting.
I love myself some SpongeBob, bro.
So all right, good.
Because that's how I learned the language, man. Like I learned the language.
SpongeBob is how you learn the language, yeah.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, not just SpongeBob, but like TV in general, man. Like I was glued to the fucking TV because I either had Dante or I had like nobody.
Okay.
Like it was, I was such a deadly shy kid, man. If like you didn't come up to me, like I would never talk to you.
Yeah.
Like I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I would just. Especially like not being able to speak to anybody. So if Dante didn't come to my door knocking, like being like, yo, motherfucker, we're going outside. Like I would just like be there, like fucking like TV, because like that's the only fucking friend I had, like for real. You know what I'm saying? And my little brother was like there, but he was like tiny as shit. And like my parents were always working. They had to, you know what I'm saying? Like
no doubt.
So that's like, yeah, like I remember like SpongeBob just being like on all the time. And I couldn't understand it. And all of a sudden, like I don't remember the transition.
Right.
I remember just knowing and then, not knowing and then knowing.
And knowing, right.
Language, man. So like it was weird. It was weird, but like yeah, like just like TV shows, man. TV shows were such a thing for me.
Yeah.
Like it's just it was that window that I could look out of and not see the same thing over that I couldn't understand.
Got you.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like cartoons, they're so just like over the top when it comes to expressions that no matter what language you speak, you can kind of follow it.
You can kind of follow, right?
You can set it in mute.
Right.
You can set it in mute and kind of like understand what's going on.
Interesting. So you going through this whole experience, you know, they're talking about pop culture things you may not necessarily understand. You're in the full swing of school. How was school? You know, let's deal with everything up until high school. We'll deal with high school later. But then, like, how was like growing up in elementary school here in the U.S., like learning the language? Was you ever picked on? Did you ever experience fights? Like, what was that experience like for you?
I was never really picked on, man. Like I was thankfully like, yo, man, by the grace of anything, like I don't know, man, and somebody looking out for me. But like I just, even though I was like deadly quiet and just like, I've always been like a small kid, you know what I'm saying, a small guy, and like I just never really got messed with. And I remember like the kids who were bullies, you know what I'm saying, like I was always able to make friends with no matter who it was. And I think it's because I never had a label to myself, man. Like I never like really, because I didn't have one. I'm saying, like, I always think about like identity, and I don't think like I had a real actual identity that I could say is my own until like probably like mid-college, man. And some real shit, because like I was always trying to like see where I could fit, and I always felt like I was like a step behind when it comes to like, you know, like really attaching to something. Like I would like see a certain thing and I'd be like, oh, maybe like that's what I'm interested. Maybe I should be interested in that. So I tried to like be interested in that, and like, I was like, I could just be like floating between groups. I always thought like looking back, I'm like, yo, man, you were just like straight chameleon. you're just going back, like you're just going between groups, like not belonging to any, but part of all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like I never thankfully like got picked on, like even like I said, like even like the kids that I remember like being bullies,
Yeah.
they would sometimes even like look out for me.
Interesting.
And like
Yeah.
thankfully, man, like I was like this Colombian kid, like these kids just looked out for me, man. It was weird. I remember like specifically one Puerto Rican, my man, yeah, a Puerto Rican friend that I made. He was like the first one I made that wasn't an ELS. You know what I'm saying? Like this was like the school that I was actually assigned to, like in the district. You know what I'm saying? And I remember him being like this very like heavy metal liking dude, just everything dark. Like he always had like the crazy shirts. Like he had an Iron Maiden shirt, and I remember he being so like crazy
He was
because like
gouged out.
yeah,
Gouged
dog.
out.
I know, man. Like it was like he always got called in for his shirts like that he wore, but he was
Yeah.
always looking out for me, man. He was always looking out for me. Like
Yeah.
I never really got picked, but like he was always looking out for me, man. And like if anybody ever like I remember this one kid almost like started trying to one time. I remember like, we were walking outside to the buses, and I remember like the kid just like grabbed me like kind of like by the neck, like back of the neck, you know, just trying to like push me like this, not like he was like thrashing me, but like, you know, like grabbing me down, you know, trying to bring me like him myself closer to him. And out of nowhere, my friend comes and just kicks him in the ass, and like the dude flies forward, bro.
Yeah.
Just like out of nowhere, he just jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like,
Crazy, man.
all right, like sure. But
Yeah.
I was always so deathly shy, man. Like I would I was always such a like confrontation was never a thing for me.
I got you. I got you. So
Never.
would you say that by the time high school rolled around, you was fully adjusted? My
Hmm?
fault. Would you say that by the time high school rolled around, you was fully adjusted to Americana, or did you still have some growing to do? And talk about your high school experience.
I had a lot of growing to do, man. I had a lot of growing to do. So I I'd been in so many schools growing up. I've been in so many different schools
Oh,
growing
so
up.
you was in and out of schools.
In and out, man. Even though like I was like in Delaware like the entire time, like even in the States, like I was in and out of schools all the time.
All
So
right.
I mean like you had like the if you count them all, I guess. You have like the 2 or 3 schools. I guess if you count kindergarten's 3, but like if you count like let's just say 2 for simplicity. You count the 2 schools in Colombia, then you count the first school I went to, ESL, then you count the second school that I went to. We lived in the apartments. That school only went up to like grade 4 for some reason. I guess resources. Then I went to a school for 5th grade. Then I went to this middle school, went the entire time through that middle school, and then went to like high school. So like I went through like 6 schools,
Yeah.
and half of the time, I was never really understanding much. Like I was way ahead when it came to like for example like math, dog. Like I told you, I knew my times tables when I was like in 1st grade.
Yeah.
When I came to like 3rd grade, like they were just learning times tables.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like for like 2 years straight, like I just wasn't challenged. I guess I don't know. That speaks a little bit on like our public school
No
system.
doubt. Oh
You know what I'm
man,
saying?
please. You know, we can
But
that's a whole another convo.
yeah, but so I was supposed to go to this one school in my district. My parents really didn't want me to go there. I had no say in that really. Because all my friends I knew were gonna go to this other high school. Every single one of them. And they were like, no, you have to try to get into this school. Obviously, we didn't have the money for, not so obviously, but we didn't have the money for a private school.
Right.
So they were like, you're going to test into this charter school. And I'm just like, all right, I mean, all right. I test in and I happened to get in. And I think some of it had to do with statistics, man, because like it must have been like myself and 2 other Latino kids in my grade. You know what I'm saying? Black kids probably like 10.
Yeah.
If I push it.
Yeah.
and then everybody else was white and from pretty well off like circumstances, most of them, or a lot of them at least. Like they lived in Hocassin, Greenville,
which are like richer districts, more affluent districts.
city. Yeah, it's just like this. Yeah, just richer. Like
Okay.
houses are big and everything.
Yep. No doubt.
And you know, we were living in Bear, Newcastle, which was like suburban, but like, you know, it's all right. It's
All
good.
right.
Fine.
Okay.
But yeah, like I remember not being able for like a long time until I was like allowed to drive. Like I would always take these hour-long bus rides to get back home.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it was only like the out of district students that got in there. So like yeah, like every single day, like it would be like nearly 2 hours of just being in a bus to go to school.
Yeah.
And it was like I just couldn't do anything. Like again, like it was like all of a sudden like I had started like making friends, right, in middle school, and then again I was just like
now you've taken a step backward.
Yeah, I was isolated again, man. I didn't have like friends I could hang out with like after school. Like I went home and I went home. That's it.
Yeah.
So
was that, would you say that represents the entirety of your high school experience, or like toward the end, did you start to find your niche kind of thing, or what was that?
I was the NFL my niche, but it took some time.
Yeah.
I don't even say like I found my niche.
Yeah, I got you. Were you into any like sports or anything like that in high school? Or any, you know, extracurriculars or?
Yeah, man. I was trying to be involved as much as I could because I knew that if I was involved, that means that I could stay with people longer, man. Like I didn't have to go to like home. I didn't have to go home.
Damn, so that was your driver. Your driver was just finding people that, you know, you clicked with.
I was trying, man.
Yeah.
I was really fucking trying. Like looking back on it, I didn't see much. Like I didn't think that I was specifically trying for that purpose. But like in retrospect, seeing like the entire picture, yeah, I was trying to like be friends with people. I was trying to like hang out. I was trying to like find an identity for myself.
And it's crazy, right? Because you know, now I'm thinking like, you know, how many kids are in your exact situation right now with the immigrant experience or not, but with that same sentiment, that same feeling, and never finding it.
Yeah, man.
Navigating their way through school, through college, and never finding, you know, people who, you know, they can relate to, or them just not being vocal about it, suffering in silence kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm saying, like, current undergrad bros, like, you know, yeah, you a man and you tough and all that. Yeah, we got you. But, you know, we feel too. You know what I'm saying? And I think reaching out to bros that have done this or have been through things like this is very important to your whole, you know, your holistic health as a man, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional kind of thing. You know what I mean? Sure. So I appreciate you being open about all that. You know what I mean? Because that's it's not easy to be open about. So then you go through high school, you graduate, which I'm sure was dope for your parents.
Yeah, man. Oh, they were.
I'm sure that was like
they were excited as hell, man. Like, yeah.
What was your road?
Like, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
For the sacrifice, I mean, like my parents missed out, I feel like, a lot on my growth. I feel like, unfortunately, like, you know, through their sacrifice, that's something they also sacrificed. They sacrificed seeing me become something different. They missed out on my metamorphosis a lot. Because I was, like I told you, I was so shy, man. Like you couldn't tell that now, like by like just speaking. Like if you found me like in the middle of a room or something like that, and you like if you wanted to spark a conversation, I'd be like, let's go.
Yeah.
But like you can, like, there was such a shift. Like I realized that I couldn't be that anymore if I wanted to thrive. Like I just couldn't. So I put myself in so many uncomfortable situations, man. Like on purpose. I made myself so uncomfortable.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they say that there was a book that I read called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. Yeah. And I recommend that book to all my bros. The Way of the Superior Man. The Way of the Superior Man by a brother named David Data. I'll pull it up right now and I'll show the viewership the picture. But he says, you know, in there he talks about he talks a lot about what he calls living on the edge of fear. Always be living right on the edge of fear. Don't kill yourself and do things that, this is it right there. The Way of the Superior Man. His name is David Data. If y'all get an opportunity, the PDF is online. Y'all get an opportunity to buy a used copy on eBay, $3, $4. Highly recommend it. Instrumental in my growth. He talks about living on the edge of fear, always. To always be living like wherever your line for fear is, where the things that you fear to do and your boundary of like, oh, I don't know, I should do that. Always be living like a footstep outside of it. And that's what that's what you said, you know, you will always do things that made you uncomfortable. So, and it's crazy how you would arrive at that conclusion just on your own, just based on your own life experience, your own, like, what made you do that? What made you live like that? In retrospect.
I was so sheltered. I was so sheltered, man. Like I told you, like every single memory that I have of Colombia, like regardless what's going on, because like what was going on was not cute. You know what I'm saying? Like at the times that we were like 90s was not a cute time. Like I mean, even like for like New York, like you know what I'm saying? Like the 90s, there's something going on turbulent. Like the turbulence was crazy. But in Colombia, like it was still going. So I mean, like I was so sheltered all the time from like what could be, and I think that had to do a lot with like how timid I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, like I have an older sister. She still lives in Colombia. She's so much older than me. Like she was like already 18 by the time my parents decided to move, so she decided to stay. She already had a kid, and she was like, "This is my life. My life's here." And like my pops and her like didn't really get along back then, but yeah, she decided to stay, and like she would tell me, he's like, yeah, you were like the cleanest little kid I could ever like even like set my eyes on. Like you were always like pristine because like nobody could fucking like, you know, mess you up. I'm saying, because like my dad, he was like had so many sacrifices, but you could tell, but like the sacrifices he made and the tenacity he has, that's his personality as well, man. He's very just like no bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was always so sheltered. And to answer your question, like I just wanted to not be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I got you.
I just wanted experiences, man.
Yeah.
I wanted experiences. Very, very early on in that metamorphosis, I realized I needed experiences, even if they scared the living shit out of me.
Such a valuable thing to realize, bro.
Yeah. Like I remember like this distinct thing, like to this day, like public speaking is not like something I enjoy by any means, but I do it, and I feel like I do it well. But I remember in high school, bro, there's this one experience, man. They were like, yo, we need somebody to like give a speech. And I was like, I'll do it. Bro.
Knowing that you were scared.
Oh, I was fucking
knowing that you were terrified.
Terrified, bro. Yeah. Terrified, but I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't give a shit. You know, come to find out, like you think like if you're telling me a story like with like the expectations of giving you like how I found great resolve and I came out giving the fucking best speech of a lifetime. Nope. I froze. Wow. I froze in front of my entire class, bro. Damn. I froze in front of everybody.
Damn.
Like I had the whole speech written out. I had like, you know, this is what I'm gonna say. I had it even like bulleted just so like I wouldn't like lose my spot, man. I put so much fucking planning into that shit, but I bombed hard. I bombed like, and just
But you learned from that though, and from that, even if you didn't recognize it at that moment, you grew.
I grew so much that day, bro. Like I look back and I realized like how much emphasis we put. Like you said, like how much emphasis we put on fear. You know what I'm saying? Like I realized that day, like, yo, I bombed mad hard, but I'm good.
Yeah. Yo, so what was your road?
Like, I'm so good. I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, and the next day I was fine.
I think that a lot of the time our you know, the thoughts that we conjure in our minds are worse than the reality. The thoughts that we conjure in our minds of what could be, you know, what might happen, what might occur, how it might turn out, what are their reactions, what will they say, you know, what will I do, is all worse. All of that inaction, paralysis via analysis, bro. So many of us suffer from paralysis via analysis. We're so busy analyzing and thinking of what could be and what's going to happen that we end up doing nothing at all.
Yeah, man.
And I think as men, you know, we gotta, you know, as people in general, but I'm talking to my fellas, like my doers, we gotta move past that, man. I'm actively working to move past that in my life. Paralysis via analysis. Better to just do and learn than not do and learn nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And like the worst thing that can happen to you, you know, take that as you may, but like the worst thing that can like really happen to you when it comes to something that is not that serious, like the worst thing is that you will learn how to handle that later on in the future.
But that requires a certain perspective. You know, I have a lot of empathy for those that
It does,
have a,
man.
you know,
Let
me balance what I just said. I got a lot of empathy for overthinking people though, because they come from, you know, we all at that fragile place first.
I still am, man.
Yeah.
I still am. I'd be like a fucking poser if I didn't tell you I don't overthink things.
No doubt.
Still, like
No
I don't
doubt.
like my heart doesn't do this every single time. Like I have to go up. Like that's like an actual like fear that I have, but like I don't like, you know, you have to do it. You get to certain moments where you realize, yo, like that's it. It has to get done. A certain job has to get done. Ain't nobody else gonna do it the way I can do it for myself.
Yep.
Let's just handle it. handle it. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a proper mind state. That's a proper mind state. So what's your road now from high school to college? Did you have a high school counselor? What, you know, at what point in your high school career was you like, all right, I'm going to UDEL, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to UDEL. I got accepted. You know, what was that whole process like for you?
Yo, man. So I think Randy said this in your thing, like there was like no choice. Like you had to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's like so like you going to college, you're going to college. Like
right.
Like which one are you gonna do?
Right.
You're gonna do one of the two, and you're gonna go to college. And I was like, all right. I knew I was gonna go, but I never like really understood even like the process itself, man. Like I know the first person in my family to go to college in the U.S. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom was able to go in Colombia, but it's a completely separate process there.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
You would actually like if you were to get like into Nacional, for example, right? That has to be like strictly like merit wise. Like
okay.
Like, no payment or anything. Like so we didn't even know like really the SATs. We didn't know anything about
the FAFSA or like I spoke to Randy about the logistics of it all. Logistics.
It was so beyond the scope of my parents to like even explain that to me. It was so far.
Yeah.
It was so damn far. Like my mom like would freak out about the SATs, you know what I'm saying? Because she heard from her friends all this, like you gotta worry about the SATs.
Yeah.
But she didn't know how to help me with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have like people who know the process or have more resources, you know, like granted, go ahead, you know, you have your resource, whatever, use them. But like my parents couldn't even like offer me that. Like they put that fear in my mind incidentally. Like they didn't, I know they didn't mean to, but they put that fear in my mind, that worry in my mind, just because they didn't know.
So how did you deal with that? Like, how did you, you know, did you have somebody in your life that kind of said, yo, I got you, like I'm gonna walk you through it? Did you figure it out on your own?
I figured it out on my own, man.
All right. Respect for that.
To be honest, because at that point in my life, I still had like that very, that's one of our weaknesses as Latino man. I'm gonna get on a tangent real quick. That's one of our weaknesses as Latino man, to like not ask for help. To like just like wait until like you're really fucking on the ground and just like hurting.
Is that so? What is that? Is that ego? Is it pride? Is it a combination of both? Is it cultural? Is it genetic? Like what? You know, in your view, of course. It bears repeating. You know, the views and opinions are our guests, of my guests are solely their own. So relax. Let's not get emotional. And let's, you know, if you want to debate, let's debate ideas. Don't get emotional. Put your ego to the side. Let's talk like men if there's a disagreement. There hasn't been. I'm just saying, should the situation arise? Go ahead, brother.
Exactly. I mean, add to the argument. You know what I'm saying? Don't just cut down and
Right.
make yourself the angel. But shit, man, it's definitely a cultural aspect of it. It's definitely personal as well. I mean, like the way I grew up, like I told you, like my dad grew up with like no bullshit. Like if you're gonna handle something, you're gonna handle it. You just got, yeah, like he was always about like grit. My dad was always about grit. And I guess it has something to do with that fear of disappointing yourself as well because you couldn't handle it yourself. Maybe that's me. That's how I was thinking back then. Cause like, yo, like I should just be able to do it, right? Like in my view, I always saw everybody just kind of like doing the stuff. I didn't understand systems. I didn't understand like support systems themselves even. You know what I'm saying? Like I just thought people just did things. Like I saw my parents just do things.
Right.
So I was like, I thought that's how you handle it. You just do it.
Right. You just do. Right.
You just take care of them yourself, man. They saw a problem, they handled it.
Right.
I thought like that's how I kind of had to do it. That's how I had to earn my stripes, so like, you know, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like as a Latino man, like I think that's something that we often don't do enough. It's like ask for help. Ask for help at all. That's a big part of the growth too. But I did have this one. She wasn't my counselor because my counselor was ass. My counselor was ass. She didn't really understand. But I had this one mentor, and she happened to be the only Latina faculty member.
Love it.
I love it. Ms. Rodriguez, yo, I still talk to her.
Shout out to Ms. Rodriguez. Somebody get her on this show.
Man. Yeah, shout out to her, man. Shout out to her. She's helped a lot of people. She took a liking to me a lot. Like we were homies, man.
Yeah,
we were homies. We were like always like she was as part of like the being uncomfortable. She was the person who led student council. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, let me. That's how I ended up doing that speech. But like, so I signed up for like student council just because I wasn't comfortable with it. Like I said, I was just like, all right, let's just do it. And I was with her, man. Like I was grinding with her, trying to make these like student events happen. I was like late nights with like those students, and she was helping us. Yo, man, like she didn't get paid for this stuff, man. She didn't get paid for this at all.
That's the mark of somebody that's truly there for the youth, man.
Yeah, man. She was just there. She was grinding. She was like, you could see the stress.
Yeah.
You could see the stress, man, and that's how I think we got close.
Yeah.
Like we just spoke. Like that was the first time I was open to somebody. Like that wasn't like actually no. Like that was the first time I was open to like anybody really.
Wow.
Because
shout out to Ms. Rodriguez, man.
Yeah, man.
Valuable.
Yeah, like cause my parents and I did like we do now just because I personally think because it's like I pushed it and like I found a person to like make it happen. But like my parents and I never really spoke about like deep things.
Yeah.
We were mostly worried about like the day to day.
I got you. There was no time. To connect on a deeper level.
No, man. Like my
mom,
like
I feel it.
Like I remember like the first few days, not the first few days, first few years, 10 years actually, that I would get home. You know what I'm saying? Like I would get home from school. My dad would be sleeping because he worked night shifts. So I mean, like I had to be like quiet as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dad's light sleeper. So I had to be quiet, man. Like he was working for us hard. So I had to be quiet, make sure he didn't wake up. He had a good day. And my mom wouldn't get back from work. She was like a saleswoman for a while. She'd get back from work sometimes till like 10, 11. You know what I'm saying? And then my dad would have to be out the door by like 9.
Yeah.
So like I didn't see my parents growing up a lot.
Yeah. See, that's yeah.
Yeah.
And I've heard that before. You know, not necessarily, living with them, but not necessarily seeing them, and that forces you to take on, I'm sure, a higher level of responsibility, higher level of discipline, being that you are on your own now for certain amounts of time in the house,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like some questionable moments too. Like, you know, like you're left alone, and I was with my little brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's some
Yeah,
questionable
yeah,
moments,
yeah.
but
No
she had to
doubt.
get done. She had to get done.
Yeah.
Um,
So Miss Rodriguez is helping you along the path. When did you know that you're going to UDEL?
I knew. I just knew. I just knew. Dog. I don't know. I don't know how like I was to put. Like I just knew I was going.
Okay.
Like I knew I had the capacity to do it.
All
I
right.
didn't know, like, since the process was so like new to me. I remember I only applied to UDO.
Okay. I got you.
I didn't apply anywhere else because I was just like, yo, man, this is overwhelming as shit. Like, I have to
Yeah.
write a whole essay. I have to fucking like do the
And it
FAFSA.
just so happened that you got accepted to the only school that you applied to.
I got accepted to your dad, man.
Sometimes
Yo,
it be like that.
sometimes it be like that. And like I just had it in my mind. I was gonna go. That's it.
Yeah. Very
Um,
good. Very good.
and you know, like we didn't have the I didn't see myself like even living on campus ever, because like I knew like my parents weren't gonna be about that. And like, you know, the more we could like make expenses go down, the better.
Yeah.
Like, my parents were so frugal,
Yeah.
like that. Yo, they're living the best life right now. Like they're in Texas, they're living the best lives out there right now, man. Like I go visit, and like I'm like, my mind is blown, bro. Like what they've been able to, like, they've been literally able to like achieve an American dream, man.
That's it. Like that is it, right? When you
Yeah,
talk about the American dream, you start from the bottom,
yeah,
scrap your way to a decent existence, or what decent existence by these societal measures. You know what I mean?
yeah, man. I mean, yo, like I'm telling you, like I just like
Wow. They deserve
I'm
it though,
so
bro, for
grateful. Like
all their sacrifice and all their time and all the, I'm sure they're so deserving of it.
yeah,
Every
and like
moment, bro.
so much of it like also has to do with like fortune. You know what I'm saying? Just like luck, almost. You know what I'm saying? But like they made their own luck with like that massive amount of grind, dog.
Yeah,
Just
no doubt.
massive grind all the time.
No
All the
doubt.
time. Like I never saw my parents not grinding.
You ever think about that? You ever think about the amount of grind and feel like you ain't doing enough?
Yeah, all the time. All the time, man. Like my brother and myself, like we're always like nonstop. Like we're not satisfied. We're not satisfied, not very easily. Um, it can be kind of like an Achilles heel
Yeah,
sometimes.
of course. And I can see why, because it's like, you're always judging yourself and kicking yourself in the ass kind of
Yo,
thing.
man.
Yeah.
I would, for the first 26 years of my life, I was so mean to myself, man.
Yeah.
I was just so mean to myself, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like thinking back on it, I'm actually like kind of like, I feel for myself. Like I told you, I never got bullied, but I did. I bullied myself.
You bullied yourself. Imagine, right? So really you did get bullied, right? But it was from the individual that know how to cut the deepest. And know how to cut the deepest, yourself. And that's
Exactly.
The biggest battles are fought within, bro.
Yeah, man.
The biggest battles are fought against yourself.
Yes, sir.
And, I'm just grateful that you're able to find, the motivation and the drive to get up day by day and continue doing what you're doing now, which we're going to get to in a minute, because what you're doing now is important work, which is the point of why you're here on the show. Let's talk about college, right? Because I know my college experience. My college experience was, it was good. It was, and I had this conversation a lot with my students, and I had the conversation a lot with my sister and a couple other people. And I say, on the spectrum, my college experience leans positive for sure.
Mm.
It was riddled and skittled and littered with, moments where I was like, yo, what am I doing here, bro? In fact, I had a moment in school where halfway through, I came home on a break. I looked my mother dead on her face, and I said, I don't want to go back over there.
Damn.
I don't want to go back over there.
How was that?
It was it was just weird, bro. Like, I didn't want to keep sitting in class.
Yeah.
This was my sophomore year. I didn't want to keep sitting in class. I wasn't really finding, kind of a group of people that I had them, but it wasn't on a cultural level. It was more, in retrospect, it was like superficial and not fulfilling,
Mm.
But yeah, bro, I really just didn't want to sit in class anymore. I was
Yeah.
like, this is whack. Like, you know, as beautiful as the campus is and as dope as the parties are, all of that gets, all of that gets old after the first year, you know? And she looked at me and said, you know, you already started, man. You already started. Why are you going to quit now? Why are you going to, you know, just finish? You only got 2 years left. Da, da, da. Long story short, I went back. I got the degree. But, yeah, what was college for you, man? Knowing your
Man,
upbringing, you know.
it was a weird start, man. It was a weird start because I was a commuter student, never lived on campus. So like that whole aspect of it. Let's just like start off with that. That whole aspect of like living on campus is like so forward. Like this is like a very American thing to live on campus. You know what I'm saying? Like my parents lived with their parents up until they got married, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely my mom. My dad, I think he moved out a little earlier just because of circumstances. But yeah, it's like you're just, it's so much more cohesive when it comes to the whole family aspect that like moving out is like kind of like weird. So I mean, besides that, it was also like more expensive and all that stuff. But so for a long time, if I ever wanted to meet anybody, it either had to be during class or I had to like actively like seek out opportunities to meet with people on campus, like events and such like that. I had some friends from high school. And we were like pretty cool. It was it's cool. I mean, it's like from high school, but like you said, like we never gotten to like that very deeper like cultural level or even like personal like level. Never gotten to that point. I feel like I'd probably put a barrier up too because I had a lot from certain things, but it was overall very taxing. Yo, man, I got so many tickets. I got so many tickets because like I was like I had to drive over, right? And I had to like find places to park. Like if I ever wanted to like, you know, stick around.
Did you own your, I mean, not own your own car, but did you have your own car or you was using your parents' car?
I had my own little car, man.
Cool.
My own little car. We had like I had a little Mazda Protege.
All right. All right. Hey, it got 4 wheels. It can get you from A to B, man. You know?
Yeah, man, but I loved it, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was a cool car to like have. I was grateful. Like I didn't realize how like grateful I was. I'm more grateful now than I was then, just because I have more perspective on the amount of sacrifice that it takes to get certain things.
Yeah.
More so now because you know for like I said, like we were like my parents were always grinding. So I mean like we never were like bad. You know what I'm saying? But we were never great.
Okay.
Up until a certain point. And they always did what they could to help me not go through that and certain struggles. I feel now that I've gone through more struggles and I've seen more struggles, and you know, not just my own, but like seen the struggles of other people as well, have like better perspective on life. I'm so much more grateful than I was back then for everything, anything that comes like it comes at a sacrifice for either yourself or somebody else. Anything you have.
At what point in your college career? So how did you find LSU, or how did LSU find you? Randy Maldonado's story was actually hilarious. Somebody's going to say, "Yo, he hooked them with the dance aspect." What about you? What was your introduction into LSU, and then talk a little bit about how you got involved?
This was freshman year. I went to Hola, which is like this Latino group, right?
Yo, shout out to all Latino student groups on all campuses, man.
Yes, sir, man.
LSA, Hola, this one, that one. Shout out to all Latino undergraduate students getting together and really putting in some work. But like not just sitting around theorizing, being an armchair, you know, revolutionary, actually putting in some groundwork and sweat and you know, into either changing things or to put on for your culture. Shout out to Latino student organizations on campuses.
Exactly, just bringing us together, man. That's the thing. We're often so divided, even though we're like going through the same shit. Like we're often so divided, but it brings us together. And so I was in that group, and I met our XLB. I'm gonna mention names, and Juan, right?
Shout out to Juwan.
Yeah, and this other girl named Christina,
Shout out
and
to
we were
Christina.
like, we were tight, man. We were like, we started like, you know, going to random things, and everything was cool. And all of a sudden, they told me, RX, Obi, and Juwan, they told me, yo, like we're going to this interest meeting for this frat, and I'm just like, what?
I love it.
I guess I'd heard of frats, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sure, like, you know, like I've seen enough like TV to kind of like understand what they are. So I thought, and I was like, whatever, man. Yeah, sure.
Yo,
Yeah,
can we open that up for a second? Because I had an idea of what frats were going into school based on, like you said, movies and TV. But the thing was, movies and TV wasn't wrong about that one.
No.
When I got there,
Yo, right?
these predominantly white fraternities and sororities, these pan-Hellenics, you know, I was like, oh, this is exactly like the movies.
Exactly, man.
This is kind of crazy. But I never had any exposure to melanated organizations.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I never had any exposure to that. So I was only exposed to this side of the frat. I never seen Stomp the Yard. I know what that was. To this day, I haven't seen Stomp the Yard, by the way. I just heard about it. Yeah, I gotta watch it. So
do it for kicks, man.
I'm watching it and I'm like, you know, or I'm going in and I'm like, wow, this is exactly like the movies. But then I find out, oh wait, there's this too. But go ahead.
Yo, like that. No, man. I thought it was just gonna be all that. I thought it was gonna be exactly all that as you spoke, which really was for for these social fraternities and sororities. And I was like, man, all right, whatever. So I went to this interest meeting. They had already been to like 2, and I show up, and I'm this awkward. Like I was always like really kind of awkward for a bit, man. Like I didn't really like, you know, like find my fit.
Yeah.
Really up until LSU. I'm not even gonna lie, man.
Yeah.
Like I told you, like I was like straight chameleon for so many years that I was just like used to like hopping from like different group to group and like, like you know, whatever. I'm doing my own thing. I don't care. And I remember like seeing this interest meeting, and like there wasn't anything in particular that was like, oh my God, but it was the first time that Latino culture was put on a spotlight for me.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was the first time I saw people my age that looked like me being put up on a screen and glorified for their actions.
Right? Even in college, right? We're undergrads, we're 18, 19, 20, we think we know, and we're so smart, we go to college. We're still capable of having our minds blown and expanded by seeing our own people.
Yes, sir, man. Yo, like I remember being there. Like I remember even walking in that room and like I didn't know anybody, man. Cause like at that point, like I'd gone to like a predominantly white high school, and most of my good friends were all like either black or Latino, right? Like the ones like I really like, you know, like fucking solidified some shit with in high school. But like besides that, everybody was white. So I remember walking into that room and I was like, yo, everybody here is Latino. Like, all right, what's going on? All right, cool. Like I didn't know anybody, dog. Like I didn't know anybody in there. Like the only ones I knew was like, it was John and Ben. And like I didn't even know, like Manny had just crossed. Shout out to Manny. E-Man. Well, he can. What's up? And
you gotta get that brother on the show. Somebody give me his number.
I will. I'll pass after this, man. Yo, he'll be interesting to see. And yo, man, like I remember walking in, I saw JJ. He was just sitting there. He was like right there in line. JJ, my line brother, yo. Like
shout out to JJ.
Shout out to JJ.
Congrats on the wife and baby. That's my LB.
Yo, man. So I remember like very distinctly, like now, like going back and like actually closing my eyes and like picturing me walking in. Some of the like most of the dudes that were in there, because it was like a small interest meeting, like it's a predominantly white school, so like I mean a small group, like everybody was like there. Most of the dudes in that room eventually became my chapter brothers at one point or another.
That's dope.
And that's the first time I ever saw them. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember just being there, man. I was just like sitting there, man, awkward, just kind of like, scoping the shit out. And as soon as it was done, like I told you, like I always throw myself into things. I always throw myself into things like almost blindly sometimes, just out of the fear, not the fear, but like the sheer.
Is it a rush? You get a rush?
It's a rush for me, man. Just to throw myself into certain things.
Yeah.
It's just a rush.
Yeah.
And I was like, almost like immediately, I was like, I need to be part of this.
Yeah, man.
I need to be part of this. Like they told me, there was like, oh yeah, like, you know, like somebody like sparked the question, like, so how do I become like, you know, like a brother, right? And he told me about the process, right? Like they told me, oh, there's gonna be, you know, there's a certain amount of steps that you have to take, but yeah, like, you know, there's gonna be a process that you have to go to. You'll be challenged. Like they were so nonchalant about it too, man. Like they were so nonchalant about it. They were like, yeah, it's gonna be like, you know, like a process you're gonna have to go through. You're gonna be like, you know, you're gonna struggle, but you're gonna come out with it, you know, with some weaponry, man.
Long story short, oh, did we go through the process? And it was a lovely, beautiful process. And we ended up on the other side.
I smile so often when I think about our process, bro, because you know.
And the beautiful thing is that every brother can relate. Like every brother knows what's up. Every brother knows what's up. And
yeah, man.
You know, these are bonds, man. These are bonds that are formed. And I haven't, to the viewership, it bears repeating, right? That I haven't spoken to this dude on this level in depth. First of all, I've never spoken to this dude on this level in depth ever. Let's get that out the way, right? Yeah. We crossed in fall 11. It's now 2019. In 8 years, I've never spoken to. I never knew all these things this brother's saying. I never knew. Mm-hmm. Never knew. But it's the shared experience that forms these bonds that transcend any information you can know about a brother. Like it's something very special, bro. Something very special. So you cross. What happened?
I said, imagine that, man. Like,
yeah,
it's like what, 2 months, right? And all of a sudden, you form this everlasting bond.
Everlasting, bro.
You have to sacrifice 2 months. That's something a lot of people don't understand that have crossed, and the people who go through the process and don't cross. Like either way, like don't understand. You only have to give up 2 months of comfort. You know how short of a time that is, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hair strand in your time. Lifetime.
In your timeline. You know what I mean? But you know, I wasn't viewing it that way at the time.
Me either.
You know, it's very easy to view it like that in retrospect.
Yes.
Like you said, when you have more perspective. But I mean, what you're saying is not wrong, and I agree with it 100%. But I have empathy for those that don't see it like that initially up front, because you know, without getting into detail, you already know, right?
Yeah, no, I mean that it's with that, like even in anything that you go through in life, you're not grateful for your struggles when they're happening.
Grateful for struggles. Grateful for pain.
You're never right? Grateful for your struggles when they're happening, man.
How do you shift the perspective? How does one shift a perspective for being grateful for struggle? Where does that perspective shift happens? Because I'm with you in the sense that, you know, if you start getting real grateful that you going through the dark times and kind of finding the light in the dark times, in the midst of the dark times, then, you know, that sets you up for, things greater to come. So how does that perspective shift even start?
Oh man, like there's so many complexities. There's so many like layers to like pull back when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess if we have to like put it down to like one thing that I think might be it. It's just when it comes back around. You know what I'm saying? When the same situation comes around again, and you know how to deal with it. Because you've already gone through it. You know what I'm saying? Like levels of struggle change so often in that way. Like imagine yourself in high school, right? You're worried as fuck, whether you may not or may have been, depending on like what your interests were then. But like, for example, like I was like very like hard on myself when it came to like grades and everything. And I remember getting like this one bad grade, man. Like, and my life was kind of like over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I was like, this is like a very oversimplified example. But like, I was like, oh my God, like this is like looking back on it, though, it's so relevant.
Mm.
There's a little struggle that because you went through it, the next time it comes around, you know how to deal with it.
Right.
You know, you see it from a looking down perspective, almost like if that struggle has to kind of like respect you a little bit.
That's an enlightened way to look at it. That's an enlightened way to look at it.
Yeah, it's like, yo, like I know how to handle you. You can't handle me because I've already passed you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Same
bro.
thing with the process, man. Like you go, that's another struggle. If you go through that process, like that's why I don't know how many brothers will agree with this, but like I would go through it again. I learned so much about myself.
I 100% would do it again. What?
Yo, man.
What?
Like at the time, like as soon as I crossed and all that shit, like no, hell no, I'm not doing that shit. Like I just bet. But
listen,
like
bro,
now, like I would.
You want to know something? And I've had this conversation with several male educators, colleagues of mine. The importance of the rite of passage for young people.
Yeah.
The whole concept of a rite of passage. Indigenous societies all over the planet have built in rites of passages to demarcate the lines of girlhood and boyhood to manhood and womanhood, and then from manhood and womanhood to elderhood or to shamanhood or whatever the case. There are demarcated lines ritualized with rites of passage. Here, we have none. We have none. There are none built in to the fabric of society here.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm in the view that these rites of passages are so critically important to the development of a young person.
Yeah.
Spiritually, physically, to know what it's like to experience physical pain in a controlled way.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like in the last show that I was talking about with Randy, we ain't living in the hunter-gatherer times no more. So it's not necessarily necessary for, one to go into the wilderness of Pennsylvania by themselves and get left there when you can go to Walmart. So I understand that part. But if we can adapt the concept of a rite of passage and, modernize it, I think it'll be just as effective as it has been for millennia.
Yeah.
And that's what I viewed this process for me. This was my rite of passage.
Yeah.
And I got it late. You go to indigenous societies around the world to this day, they sending these 10, 11-year-olds into the woods and saying, you come back with X, Y, Z. And if you don't come back, we don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. You just have to know how to do so many things back then that you don't have to know how to do now, man. Like
it's a different world.
Yeah, yo, like the fact that you could just like lay down, order food, and just not leave your house at all, dog. Like you don't have to leave your house to survive anymore.
I know. Say that again, bro. Say that again.
You don't have to leave your house to survive, bro. Like it's so detached from like what should be natural, but it's our nature now. This is natural for us now.
Yikes.
This is our nature.
Yikes.
Yeah, you could just not do anything and be relatively okay. like I mean, that's you still have to like earn money to like in order, so that's a complexity within the whole thing. But yeah, you could just if you have like a job, let's say on a computer, you don't have to leave.
But you know what though, even still, like even in that, I concoct ways to give my students many rites of passages, or to give the young people that I've worked with throughout the years. Now, obviously, I'm not, taking them to a frozen river and be like, chill there for 3 hours, but, mine are more so mental. You know what I mean? Like, rites of passage are important, bro. And that's what this process and this whole LSU, that's what it was for me. That's how I compartmentalize it in my mind. And, when I do that, then I'm like, okay, so I understand. And I understood that while I was in the process, which gave me an anchor point.
Yeah.
To be like, nah, you're gonna do this. You're gonna finish.
I like how you said that, man. That it was definitely a pivot.
Yeah.
It definitely serves as a pivot. Like I remember myself almost before and after, kind of.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I still consider myself like a kid after I crossed, but like it was different. It was
No
already
doubt.
like on a different path.
No doubt. No
Like
doubt.
that kid was already on a certain path afterwards. Like before, it was like less so. It's like still confused as hell about like everything that had to do with like the like college and my
Oh,
what I was
so
gonna do
how
afterwards.
when did you cross? How many years did you have left to graduate before you crossed? Or when you crossed, how many years did you have left to graduate?
So I crossed in fall 11, so that would make it. I was a sophomore.
Okay, so you had 2 years. So how was the final 2 years of your college experience as a brother?
As a brother, yo, man, I had so much fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's so much fun. I mean, like that's something I'm not gonna like, like glance on. Like, yo, it was fun times, bro.
Yeah,
It was an amazing, amazing time. Like,
good for you.
not just because I got to meet so many people, I got to travel, I got to just experience so much of everything, man.
Life, bro. Life.
Yeah, like my world just became bigger immediately. Overnight, my world just became bigger. Like the fact that I know you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What the fuck are the chances?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what are the chances?
I know.
You live in Bronx, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Bronx.
Yeah, it's not like.
Bro, we got brothers.
I
we got brothers that are possibly watching this right now that are now connected to us. That we got chapters in Arizona. We got
That's what I'm
chapters
saying, man.
all over the place. Like we got people watching us right now that are like, oh wow, like, yeah, man, I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
I'm saying, like, it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. The amount of people I got to meet, the amount of just stories that I have, man. Like that's something that people don't, I guess, emphasize enough. Like the fact that you have stories is so powerful, because if that's how we communicate, that's how we enlighten each other, that's how we bring people closer to us.
Yeah.
That's how we open them up so they can tell us our stories, and that's how we learn.
No doubt.
If we have stories that, man, you have an icebreaker instantly.
Yeah.
Then you have something to like relate to somebody else who might have gone through something similar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can add on to a conversation. It's
Facts.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So, you finished school. How was your graduation? Were your parents in attendance?
Yeah, of course in attendance, man. They always been there, man. They always been there.
How was that for them? Was it an emotional graduation?
No. No. I mean, for my parents, yeah, it was. For me, I was like, okay, yeah. Like we're doing this thing.
That's right. That's right.
Shit, but like I wasn't terribly happy with my major, man. I really.
What did you major in?
Dietetics.
Okay.
Dietetics. So that's like clinical nutrition almost.
Okay.
And I already knew that like this is like even probably like a little bit after I crossed. I already knew like I wasn't feeling it, but like I was so deep into it already. That's something I feel like so many people have this story. Like, you're so already deep into like the major that you're in, even though you don't like it anymore because you've already been immersed in it and you know enough about it to understand that it's not your shit.
Okay.
You still go through with it because you can't really turn. Like turning
now, it's too late.
Turning would mean like too much cost, too much time.
Right.
It didn't make sense. But I had this one professor, my junior year, like end of junior year, early senior year actually, because like junior year I was kind of struggling, man. Like academically, like I didn't find an interest, so I was kind of struggling academically a little bit. This, like I told you, man, like I was so hard on myself, like about like grades and stuff like that. This was like detrimental to me. Like I saw like that GPA like slowly just like that. I was just like, and it never got like horrible, but it wasn't great either. And I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? Like I just really couldn't like sit in that class and like pay attention, man.
Yeah.
I just really couldn't. Really couldn't. My mind is already like, like from like a 0 to 100 now.
Yeah.
I have like multiple like thoughts in my mind constantly that like as soon as like you get in front of me and like you're just bland, I just
you tune out, you zone out. I got you.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what was the road from graduating college to now you're doing your master's?
yeah, so man, that's even long. But like, so like it actually starts in my undergrad. I had this
Okay.
professor, and no, that's all it takes, man. Like that's all it takes. Like the same way it was like in high school, I had Miss Rodriguez. I had Miss Catugna. That's how you say it. But um, she taught this community health and community nutrition course at University of Delaware, and that was my first exposure to public health.
All right.
She's a doctor. She has a doctorate in public health.
Now,
And
public health means what exactly?
public health is such a general term, bro. It can mean anything. But
Okay.
like, if it has to do with health, it is public health.
Okay.
You know what I'm
All right.
saying? Sanitation, public health.
Got you. Okay. I see.
Anything that has to do with public health, you eating any at all, public health. Housing, public health. Policy, public health. Like it's so
Okay.
broad that they
Okay.
do so many different aspects. I can explain that later too. But I went to the community, man. Like she sent our class out like, yo, you're gonna go out to the community and you're gonna like do some community type work
All right.
in order to understand like what this class is about. And I went to the Boys and Girls Club and I was teaching there for like a whole semester.
Shout out to the boys club. Shout out to girls club. Shout out to the boys and girls club all over the country. Valuable work. Like I put in work there as a brother and both as a teaching artist. Do what you can to keep those institutions going, man. It's important that our young people have a place to congregate and get exposed to things that they wouldn't normally otherwise.
Exactly.
Shout out to those organizations.
Just the fact that they have like doors open, like resources for somebody to go.
Yep.
I'm saying amazing. And I went there for a semester and I was like, whoa, okay. This is a way like I can kind of like help, right? Cool. Like tell me more about this. Tell me more about this. And that's the one I like took up the minor at least of like public health, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, like let's figure this out. I got out of college. I got a job that I was just trying to pay bills.
All
I was
right.
trying to like have something. And it was something I could get with my degree. It was whatever. But I needed something that was gonna change the game, man. I needed something that was gonna like, first of all, because my GPA wasn't super. I think it was like 2.8, 2.9, something like that.
All right.
So it wasn't like great, but it wasn't horrible, but it was not great. And I also had like no real true like experience in public health setting. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, man, like I just need something to switch it up. I also need something that's gonna open up my mind. I need something that's gonna put a different perspective in my life. And my mom had this one family friend. We're still really close, and they live in Colombia now. But her husband did the Peace Corps. You know what I'm saying? And my mom was like, all of a sudden, like, hey, like, have you thought about it? So yeah, man, like my mom told me about Peace Corps, and I was like, yeah, like I mean, like she had mentioned it really. This conversation I'm talking about had been like probably like a couple of years before, like I even like got out of undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, and like by the way, side note, that on its own is like privilege as fucking self, man. To like be able to like join Peace Corps because like you have to be a citizen to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying, the fact that like my parents had already gone through all that, like being able to do it, whew, like, thank you, yo. Like if they can hear me now, man, and like if they can feel it now,
Yeah, man.
like, thank you, because that's difficult. That's very difficult.
No doubt.
But yeah, so I was like, got home one day and I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, man. I actually remember like distinctly like a car ride with some of the brothers one day. They had picked up me at my house. It was Chuck's car actually.
Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to Chucky.
Mikey was in the passenger seat.
Shout out to Mike.
And I don't even think they remember that day, but that day is so clear to me. That night, actually. That night is so clear to me. Because, like, I remember telling them all of a sudden, like, yo, guys, I think I'm going to join the Peace Corps. And they were like, what? All right. Like, you know, when you, like, hear your, like, boys say something weird, like, and you're kind of like, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, whatever. I think it was one of those, man. And yeah, man, that same night, I got back and I filled out the application. And I finished filling out that application, and I was just like, all right, so this might be a thing.
Mm.
This might be a thing. I prepared myself mentally for it and everything. And I remember I got an interview back, and it's not like the Peace Corps just randomly accepts anybody.
Okay.
Saying they got back to me. I almost ended up going to Guatemala.
Okay.
Right. And I interviewed for that. Like I got pretty far in that process. And eventually I didn't get chosen. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, where do I go from here? I already had that plan.
Mm.
I already had that plan, man. Everything was so fucking solidified in my mind.
In your mind, but reality is different. Bro.
Reality says something else. And I was
right.
like,
That's right.
I was like, what do I do? What I do? What, like, my instant reaction to that, and I think this is a test, like something that else you taught me, you know what I'm saying? My instant reaction to that is like, all right, life just threw a wrench in your face.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
What you gonna do?
What you fucking gonna do, man?
What you gonna do?
Are you gonna fix up your nose and like keep moving forward? Or are you gonna
Right.
keep complaining about how you've broken your nose?
Complaining, right.
You know what I'm saying? Or just like, so I remember, of course I was like upset because I was like, damn, like, all right, got rejected. But like, I got over my shit, and then the next day I was like, all right, bring up that application again. I'm gonna do it again. So I applied like immediately the next day again.
Okay.
And I was like, what can I do to like improve my chances? So like I asked the people, I was like, all right, like I know you didn't choose me. Why didn't you choose me? And they told me like I just didn't have enough experience. And I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna get this experience.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like I filled out the application again, and I had it like saved there because like I knew that I still didn't have the fucking experience. So I went out and got more fucking experience, man.
Yeah.
I went out and got immediately like immersed myself. Like, yo, all right, let's bring this experience up in order to like really get myself. I did anything I could to like really like help me out to do that.
Yeah.
And even stuff like I wasn't really just like fully into. Like I just wanted to make sure that I could make myself as good of a candidate as possible in the quickest time possible. And I applied again, and lo and behold, man, like I got chosen to go to Paraguay.
Where is that?
Paraguay is in the center of South America. So
Okay.
it's north of Argentina, south of Brazil, south of Bolivia.
Okay.
So it's surrounded, it's landlocked.
Got you.
Yeah, man. And I was like, shoot. It's like, as soon as I got Paraguay, I was like, all right, cool. Like I've heard of Paraguay, yeah. Like in soccer, you know, like I'm watching football, and like, you know, we played them sometimes. We as in Colombia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's really all I knew about it, man. I didn't know anything about Paraguay. Like I just thought they were like a different type of Latino. And,
right.
You know, it'd be because you know what I'm saying. Like I always like all my friends are Latinos.
You associated with
Uruguay.
Be all
the same thing, man.
I got you.
I thought like, you know, it's like very naive.
Yeah.
100%, very naive. But I was just like, all right, you know, all right, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, man. And yeah, I remember telling my job. I remember telling my friends. I remember telling my parents. I was like, yo, I'm leaving.
Wow.
And they were like, you're leaving? I was like, what do you mean you're leaving? Like, you're going like out of state or something? Like, what are you doing? I was like, no, like I'm leaving for like 2 years.
Out.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's set that I'm not gonna be here for 2 years. Like I'll be gone. I mean, I'm coming back, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, and like and I didn't have like for example like an army experience, but like or like military experience. But I imagine like that's even more drastic for them. But like for me, like I was always like, all right, like I'm just going to. I saw it almost as an adventure, kind of, not really appreciating like the gravity of what I was doing.
Of what you was gonna go do, right.
Yeah. And I like I said, man, like as soon as like I had that response, I was just like, all right, that's where we're going. That's what we're going to do. And that's what's going to happen. Let's fucking go.
Yep.
And I remember we left in February, man. Left in February, and my last day in the States was in Miami. Because that's where everybody from all over the country met. Okay. We have like this event. One event is called staging. And that's pretty much like 2 days of like preparing you for all right, so like this is kind of what we're gonna do as soon as we arrive. Like you're gonna be put in these host family with these host families. You're gonna live with them for like the 3 months of training. You're gonna have language training. Yeah, you're gonna have cultural training. You're gonna have a whole bunch of this for like 3 months. It's just like setting us up. So like I remember my last night, yo man, I went crazy that night in Miami, bro, because like I knew it was gonna be like that's it. Like
Yeah, this is it. No turning back. This is something totally different.
yeah. Like I was already there, man. Like I had already like left home. Like I already told everybody. Like you know what I'm saying. Like there's no, you can always turn back. You can always quit. You know what I'm saying.
Right,
You can
no
always
doubt.
quit whatever. Anything you start, you can always quit. But
we ain't quitting. We ain't quitting.
We ain't quit. Like yeah, and I saw. I remember seeing certain people's faces, and yeah, like everybody had like a similar kind of type mindset, man.
Yeah.
Like everybody was so eager to just throw themselves into the unknown.
Yeah.
That's something I really appreciated about that experience as a whole. The fact that I met those people.
And you was out there for 2 years?
I was out there for 2 years.
See,
man.
I didn't even, bro, you know how it's so crazy? Like, this is the first time that I'm learning that you was in Paraguay for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like when I say that me and this brother haven't spoken, like we literally have not spoken in years, but it's just so effortless. But
yo, man, like yeah, like speaking to you is like I left you yesterday, bro.
Facts.
It's like we're still in Scrap's apartment in New York.
We don't talk about those things. We don't talk about those things. Jesus, bro. So Paraguay, man. So like, how would you describe the Paraguay experience overall, man?
Oh man, amazing, beautiful.
Yeah.
Grand. I really fell in love with the people I met.
Yeah.
I really fell in love with the people I met in a way I never expected, man. I never have been a very overly emotional person.
Yeah.
Just who I am. And just seeing the things they can accomplish on a day-to-day was, I don't know, man, it was gravitating. Like I couldn't stop, just wondering about how they did it, how they thought, what they wanted to do, their aspirations. Like I was really trying to like really understand and wrap my head around everything. And it was initially difficult because they speak Guarani. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not like we went there and all of a sudden like everything was like Spanish. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, everybody like a good amount of people, like a lot of people speak Spanish.
Right.
But like they're more comfortable mostly like in the center of the country, right? Like in the areas where like volunteers actually go. They speak Guarani.
Okay.
Which is their indigenous language. They're a bilingual country.
Okay.
So envious of that, by the way, man. Like I wish like all Latin American countries could be like that. Like we're like officially bilingual.
And right, isn't it crazy, right? Especially Boricuas, Puerto Ricans, right? We get, city Ricans and city Dominicans and city Latinos get so much for not speaking Spanish, right?
Oh, man.
Right. True and understandable because that's what our people speak. But if we really having a real conversation, Spanish isn't our indigenous language.
Spanish
comes from over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ready for that kind of real conversation.
I mean, that's a colonized language. Yeah, it is.
That's amazing, bro. That they still maintain that indigenous language.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. Like there's like so much history behind that too.
Yeah.
Like yo, man, somebody's gonna have to fact check me on this. But like something that blew my mind when they were telling me about like their language, and I was learning more about it, and I was kind of like trying to absorb it. Like I'm not fluent in it, but I can understand it a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like if they speak to me in Guarani, I understand it.
Okay.
I can't like speak it back too much.
Right.
Enough to like get around, but like not to have like a full-fledged complex
like conversation that flows. Yeah.
Yeah. But like after Latin and Greek, it's the one language that provides the most roots in all languages.
What do you mean the most roots?
So
for words.
For words.
Ah.
For words, man.
Ah,
Yeah, man. Like, there's so many words that are based off of the Guarani language
okay.
that we didn't even know just because of the Amazon and
No
everything.
doubt.
And like, somebody's gonna have to fact check me on that because like I never like, actually checked that fact, but that's something that we're very very adamant about.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, like for example, like the word for dog, right, is jaguar. You know what I'm
Jaguar.
saying? Because it resembles kind of like a jaguar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and then like
That's the root
right,
of it. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
rude,
Yo, bro,
man.
so like you go through this Paraguay experience, coming back, I'm sure it was difficult for you to leave that after 2 years.
Um,
Was it? Or I mean, were you
yeah,
ready? Like, was there a certain sense of attachment that you developed to this country and these
absolutely,
people?
man. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way you could like live with a group of people so long and not develop some sort of attachment. I definitely struggled both ways. I struggled both ways. I struggled going in and then leaving.
Yeah.
I struggled going in and leaving, man. Like there were certain times I really questioned a lot of things. But it was mainly because at certain times I did feel alone. A lot of times I felt alone because many complexities within human language, I believe personally, that need context. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things like behind like being Colombian and then needing that context of being Colombian in order for you to understand what I'm talking about. Likewise, like I'm American, like there's so many things about me being American that like I do and I think about. But if you don't have that context, you're not really gonna understand. We're gonna try to have a conversation that's deep and like really
Yeah.
like if you don't understand like where I'm coming from, you're not gonna understand how like heavy it is, the thing that I'm talking about.
Got you.
Um,
Got you.
so I struggled there. Like I remember they do this graph, man. It's pretty accurate actually. They make this graph for Peace Corps volunteers to kind of like I don't know what the like the actual purpose for making this graph is. I think it's kind of like to just prepare you for what's about to come,
Okay.
like the most simple, oversimplified way that they can.
Mhm.
But there's this one graph, and I'm gonna kind of make it up for you because I don't like remember it like
Now,
100%.
this is what they show you before you go over there.
Yeah, kind
Okay.
of before you're spread out because like you're in your teaching communities for the first like 3 months. Like I said, those are like where you like get trained in every training communities rather.
Okay.
It's where you get trained and everything, and then like they disperse you throughout the country to your own separate community. And then so the graph starts out that all of a sudden you're in this high, this high peak of a point, right? And then you go down a little bit because like you get so tired of training. You know what I'm saying? You're like, all right, like like I'm over this thing, man. It felt like honestly like the longest period in my entire experience in Paraguay was training, dog. I wanted to leave. It felt forever. It felt forever. So like you slowly like go down and like morale is like all right, like
Right.
day to day because every single day was just like pop 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 learn. Like it was really intense.
Yeah.
It was really intense language
It's
training.
actually funny how that is reminiscent of your early educational experience in Colombia, the way that came full circle for you.
That's what I'm
Amazing how
saying,
it
but like
works out.
you learn how to like kind of like deal with it like every single struggle. It's like what I'm saying. It
No
comes
doubt.
comes around. And it was for the language. It's actually like the same regimen that they have for the foreign service.
Okay.
So like everything is just like pop 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 pop. Like the professors, like all these speakers Guarani, so like they don't speak like anything else with you. And so like like as the time goes on, your morale is just like and then all of a sudden, you hit this plateau at the like where you're like at the back at the bottom, and then all of a sudden another peak because you get sent out to your communities. You know what I'm saying? You have like all this fucking crazy shit, right? And all of a sudden you start realizing how small you are.
Mm.
You start realizing
Mm.
how small you are, man. You go out to these communities and you like have this mentality, especially like a lot of people are like so idealistic. People who join Peace Corps
I'm
and
gonna
like
save the world.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I never had that like mentality. Like, I'm gonna save the world. Like, some people like, oh, like, or you're like going out there to like save. No, dog. I never had that mentality. I just wanted to learn.
Right.
I just wanted an adventure.
Right.
Like that ass. Like, I just wanted an adventure.
Yeah.
Like, help people like along the process, sure, but like, I wanted an adventure. I wanted something that was gonna change be another pivot.
Mindset matters, man.
Yeah, and you just realize how small you are, man. They train you to like, all right, you're gonna hold these events, you're gonna have this, that, and the third. You're gonna go out to the communities, do like community planning. You're gonna try to talk to like the mayors. You're gonna like, you're just gonna try to do a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
You kind of like fill your mind with that, and like you also already have like that predisposed like mindset, like I'm gonna go overseas and I'm gonna help, and blah 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 blah. And then you start realizing like, yo, shit, all right, problems are complex. Problems are intense. Problems require a lot of contextual understanding that you don't have if all of a sudden you're coming from the States. Just because the problems are solved in your society doesn't mean that same solution is going to be the one that solves the problem.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because you have full sanitation here doesn't mean all of a sudden that you're a fucking engineer and like you can like develop an entire irrigation system, and then you go all of a sudden like you can fix like the school problems. You all of a sudden like you can fix like the pot. No, man, you don't know shit. You don't know shit. You don't know shit. So like slowly, like it's
so did this experience knock you down a few pegs?
Yeah. Of course. Like, I mean, like it's definitely humbles you, man.
Yeah.
Like we speak as brothers, like, oh, you need to remain humble, blah, 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 like.
But like,
but life.
What
life
is that actually? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Life.
I got you.
Man. Life humbles you. It's not like all of a sudden you can click a switch.
Turn a switch.
I'm humble. I'm a humble ass motherfucker. You know
right.
No, man. Like life teaches you to understand humility a little better. I'm still a student. And then all of a sudden, like your morale kind of goes down, even like below where you came in. You know what I'm saying? But like as you become one with the community, like you slowly start going up. You start like creating projects that are your own. You all of a sudden understand more of the context, even though you don't understand everything. Like you understand a little more because people trust you.
Okay.
Now, because you put in the work. You know what I'm saying? If you put in work, like even like the small things. I remember I started out so fucking slow, bro. Like everybody did. Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? Like you start out with like English classes. Great. Whatever. You're not an English teacher. You're not a trained English teacher. So like what real difference are you gonna fucking make? But like you don't realize like what you're doing is actually like immersing yourself within the code, like within the society. The students are meeting you. If you meet the kids, the parents are want to know who's teaching their kids. So you're gonna meet the parents. You mean the parents, you're gonna understand a little bit more of the society.
Yeah.
Because they can like tell you a little more. But like I did like this. Like I remember like we had, like the school had like these two laptops that had been donated by Tigo, which is like a very like huge. It's a huge communications company in South America. Tigo. And Tigo sometimes donated like these like they looked like like those freight containers, those freight containers, the metal ones that like you put on trains and like
those huge ones on ships, cargo containers and everything. Yeah, I got you.
So it was like a cargo container painted, and then inside like they had like this computer lab. And by the time I got there, like the school had like 2 or 3 computers, something like that, because like all the other ones had gotten stolen. So I was like teaching like these typing classes, you know what I'm saying? So like, all right, great typing classes. Like you don't think that's much, but like I didn't understand that I was putting seeds. I was like sowing seeds, bro.
Yeah.
I met some of my best friends like in my time there in that school, kids and adults, man. Like the power of a child to bring a stranger in is amazing. Like that's something I never really realized, man. Because as adults we've been, I don't know, man, we've been thrown into a washing machine, bro, like, and tumbled around and like kind of grown to have like this little sense of distrust about anything that's different, anything that's strange.
Yeah.
Kids don't really have that, man. They haven't been
Fearless, man.
like that.
So
I remember like that. A lot of volunteers will tell you, man. Some of their best friends. These are grown ass fucking people. They're some of their best friends through their time in Peace Corps are kids who are the first ones to say, hey, like, do you want to play?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. To them, that's so simple, man.
So simple, bro.
That's comes back around, man. Like I told you, like Dante was my first friend, man. How did he bring me in? Do you want to play?
Do you want to play?
Yo, like I was, fuck yeah, man. Yeah, yo, like let's, yeah. Please, I need somebody to talk to. So like your morale starts like going up. All of a sudden, like you meet people, and you understand what the community actually needs. Not fully understand, because you'll never really understand it until like you're actually, unless you're from that community.
You're from it and you're of it, right?
Exactly. But you kind of start understanding, okay, like maybe I can help out this way. Maybe I can add to this. Maybe I can stack on top of like what already exists, because that's really all you can do.
Yeah.
It's just like, put something on top of something else that already exists, because your ass is going to be out regardless. And, so my graph went up, and all of a sudden it starts going down a little bit, because you start realizing that you establish all these bonds, you establish this work, you put everything you have into it, man, because it's a 24-hour job, and like everything's so self-monitored. There's nobody that's your supervisor, bro. There's nobody telling you, like, go out there, you have to do this, that, and third. You have to be accountable for this job, this job, this job. No, they tell you, okay, this is kind of your title. We give you like some tools. Go do. And like all of a sudden you have to come up with like a job, bro. There's no like real job description. All of a sudden you have to make your own job up.
Wow.
And like you have to tell yourself, get out of bed, go do. You have to tell yourself, yo, man, you gotta nourish yourself well, because you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just be here and stay indoors all day, because otherwise you become irrelevant, and also you lose the trust, man, that you build.
Lose the trust. You're taking up space, and
just taking up space, man. Yeah. Like freeloading, and like unfortunately that's something that happens with some volunteers, man. They freeload, like, and like It's not cool. It's not cool. Like that's an often unspoken truth, but there's like some freeloading ass motherfuckers who are out there like going and do shit, like do it for the fucking glam. Saying that they're like a Peace Corps volunteer and like, don't do shit. It happens, not often. I didn't see it often, but it does.
But it does happen, right?
And then so you build that stuff, so your graph starts going down, and because you're sad, you're about to leave, but then you hit this like plateau that's higher than where you came in, and you leave good.
Yeah.
You leave better than where you ended. So this is kind of like the graph.
Okay.
That came up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Going from here, starting
here.
Low
point is definitely a low point.
And going here, man. So, in middle of the time, when you're in the middle, really hard point, bro.
Yeah.
Holidays are hard. Birthdays are hard. Especially like days you hold dear in the calendar, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Not seeing my brother was hard. Cause like we're really tight.
Yeah. Shout out to your brother.
He's a brother.
Your brother is a brother?
My little brother's a brother.
What semester?
Oh shit! He's gonna kill me for that. Like he just crossed in spring.
This past spring?
Yeah.
He's a Neo. Oh, shout out to little bro. We gotta get that brother on the show. I would love to talk to him about his experience through everything that you just said, but through his eyes. I would love to talk to that brother.
Like, yeah, man, we talk. We're so close. We talk often about like different things.
Amazing. Shout out to your brother. So, bro, talk a little bit about the work that you're doing now. Then, kind of on the wrap up note, like, what are you doing now? What are you into now? Where do you find yourself in life these days? What kind of work are you doing? And just shed some light on that. thank you, bro, for going into your Peace Corps experience. That you know, as I was listening, I'm actually learning, because you hear Peace Corps, but I never knew anybody in the Peace Corps until now, and I never really knew, you know, that it was like that. You know what I mean? So thank you for going into that. But yeah, talk a little bit about the work you're doing now.
Yeah, man. So I'm in grad school right now, right? I'm in grad school right now. I'm doing some work. But like the whole grad school thing, that like itself started in Peace Corps, man. That's where I applied. Like I took GRE. I had to take like a 1 hour bus to take the damn GRE, bro.
Yeah.
But it all started there, and I remember like we set up this project there, man, and this is literally what I think made like that essay. Like I'm gonna get into like all the work and stuff like that, but I'm like getting into the process of like applying and everything. Like I wrote this essay and like it had to do with like these hydroponic gardens that we ended up building with like this engineer that was over there. And I remember just that's what gave me that context of what I wanted to do, man. Like I speak like my favorite word now is context, bro. Like context.
Yeah.
You have to understand. Like everything has a base.
No doubt.
And so I came here, like I got into the school, I got into the program, and all of a sudden, again, like the cynicism kind of came through. Because something they don't tell you about grad school is that like the more you know, the more cynical you become.
Okay.
And I was trying to see like, yo, what can I do? Where can I be? And then I understood the power of evidence, man. The power of actually bringing in numbers into the equation when it comes to policy making, when it comes to fucking events that actually do something, programs that make a difference. The evidence behind everything is something that never was really put into the public health atmosphere until very recently. So one of the jobs that I do now, because you know, like I'm a grad student, but like I still have to like work and live, so I have like 3 jobs. But one of them, like the one I'm most happy about, I'm doing this evaluation study for this program in Boston Medical Center, which happens to be a safety net hospital in Boston. And a safety net hospital, for the viewers, is like a hospital who takes anybody in regardless of ability to pay.
Okay.
So there's this program in there. So it's called Street Cred. Street Cred is like it's in Boston now. It's like in Texas, and we're running like the first study to make sure that it's something that is actually working.
Okay.
So we're taking like this information and making sure that there's something to compare it to. That way, in the end, you're able to say if it works or not. And that's the work like I really want to make sure I hone down, I get into, because a lot of the projects that went on overseas I saw go on domestically, they don't have any evidence to back them up. There's all these companies that sponsor them for the benefit of their clout, and they have no evidence whatsoever to back up their findings.
Okay.
They tell you these impact reports. It's like, oh yeah, we've saved this many lives, we've provided these amount of drugs to people, we've done everything, blah blah blah, but they have no real evidence from beginning to end of it, man.
Okay.
And I've been starting like do work with like different hospitals. I've been starting to do work in the school just to understand how to better get the numbers, man. Get the numbers out there so like people can be held accountable for the bullshit that they put out there, man. Like I told you, like grad, like that's something that people don't tell you about grad school when you're going in. It'll bring a cynical side that has always been there.
Okay.
Because you're a student, so like you always have like to understand that new things have to come in order to evolve.
Okay.
And by that I mean the mind.
Got you.
And we just need that evidence, man. You just need that evidence to make sure that people aren't getting fucked over.
Yeah.
Because like most of the programs that are created for public health are established and run in communities that have less, that can't defend themselves because they don't know.
They don't know. They don't
They don't know
have
the
the
system.
knowledge,
They don't
right?
know how to handle them, man. They don't like that's the thing. In order to be able to like break this, like this is cliche, but like in order to be able to break the system, you must know the system.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to like really build that network here to make sure that people understand the importance of this. And I really want to hopefully like after this is done, hopefully like I can get into like bigger things, maybe like work my way, get myself up there, and eventually like find out everything that there is about like these systems and how they work, how they get their evidence, how like
Yeah.
the numbers get pushed, how like what bureaucracy has to happen like in the top in order to like go down to the local level.
Good
And
for
it's
you,
all
man.
part of a team, man. It's
Good for you,
all
bro.
it's all a team effort. Anybody who tells you that they're like fucking the Steve Jobs of like public health, like they're fucking fooling themselves, bro. Because it's all a team.
Good for you, bro.
I'm one cog in the entire machine, bro.
No doubt.
And it's like I've been trying to like I said, network and get this team together, get people just involved. The people I've met here, yo, man, like that's one thing that comes with all the privilege that I've been given in order to like even be able to like attend grad school, man. Like the ability to submerge myself and be just completely enveloped by great minds that understand things that I don't. If I have a question about a certain thing when it comes to because like policy is not my strong suit, like the numbers are, and like you know just getting those out there, that's my strong suit. But for example, like getting the policy, getting a more contextual understanding of everything else, that's somebody else's strong suit. So I can depend on them.
Forever a student. You're forever a student. Learning mode.
Forever, yo, you will
Learning
never
mode.
stop being a student, man. And I'm just trying to do my best, man. Like at the end, we all trying to do our best. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I can contribute to the team.
Good for you, bro. Listen, man. We've been sitting here talking for a while, bro. And like, you know, I gotta say,
yo, I'm like looking at the clock, like I can't believe it's been that long.
I know, man. And I gotta say, you know, like, brother, you've lived a lot of life, man. Already in your 20s. You're not even 30 yet. And, you know, you've lived a lot of life. And I really respect you for, you know, I have a newfound respect for you after kind of diving into your life story and being open and vulnerable to the extent that you was tonight, because that's the point of this. You know what I'm saying? You know, for the viewership out there, you know, watch this in pieces, watch it in chunks, skip around, you know, find parts that, you know, you kind of resonate with, but this brother definitely put himself out there with this interview. I just want to thank you, bro. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you.
Yeah,
You know, like I said, I got a newfound respect for you. You know, you got a special place in my life, in my heart. As my brother, my doors are always open to you. You know, and I'm just very appreciative that we have you as a member of our organization, somebody that's been there, somebody that's been at the ground level. You know, you went back and you did what you did in Paraguay and you made an impact there. And now you're coming back and you're doing what you got to do within the system to just better people's lives. Admirable work, bro. And that's the point of all of this. That's why I'm bringing brothers like you on this show to highlight their work and give you an opportunity to put yourself out there. And it's just a beautiful thing what you've done and what you're doing. So, you know, many blessings to you, you know, love and blessings to your family, to Dante, to everybody that helped your family along the way to put you. And yo, give your little brother my number. Tell him he needs to send me a text. I want that.
I will, man.
Any last words that you would like to leave the viewership with, that you would like to leave the brotherhood with, the sisterhood, if you know some of the lovely ladies are tuned in, you know, any last words?
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What can I say? I mean, like, thank you, by the way, like for like all the things that you mentioned just now. Like I said, man, there's still a lot to grow. There's always time. time to grow. And I hope that everybody can grow along with us, man. Like make sure that like if some sort of information comes in that you're not immediately, you know, putting barriers to your understanding of what everything is. Certain people think certain ways because of so many reasons. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has lived a life. You know what I'm saying? Just because you've lived yours and you understand yours doesn't mean you understand everybody else's. Doesn't
No
mean
doubt.
you understand like the way everybody else thinks or works or what their motives are, because they're not yours.
No doubt.
Not yours. But I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that like I have mediums like this, like how you have been able to establish this in order to be able to bring different understanding to people, man. Like this is something that's like never been able to happen in the millennia that we've been humans, man.
Yeah.
This has never been able to happen, like ever. The ability to share stories. So like, let's make sure that it keeps happening.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with that, I salute you, my dear brother, my good line brother.
My
And
LG.
you know, have a good night, bro. Thank you for joining us tonight, bro.
Thank you, bro. Be
All right, man.
blessed, man.